Welcome to Reread. We're on Vortex by Troy Denning in the Fate of the Jedi series, and the good stuff just keeps on going. Abeloth fakes her death. She switched her body out with Dion's, and so she's lost Dion as an identity, and she's moving on. So of course, Luke and the Sith are trying to track her. The Bothan lawyer who's in Tahiri's trial falls asleep. I'd forgotten about this, and you don't know if he's doing it on purpose yet or not. Now, later on, Leia will get Tahiri a Faline lawyer too, and so they kind of team up together for a minute. And I guess they're calling him old, even though it feels like he has a plan. He even tells Terry he has a plan. So I don't really know where Troy Denning wanted to go with that, and I can't recall what the final. I mean, I know what happens to Tahiri a little bit, but with the lawyer, I can't remember what the final. I don't think he ever gets to prove whether he had a plan or not. He was just really falling asleep. He's really getting old. Uh, now, they try to, in this one, Dala is trying to secretly quell uprising, a slave uprising, since the fountain got damaged. There's been a slave uprising here. She funnels money to a corporation who uses that to buy Mandalorians. Once again, it's the same Mandalorians who put a siege on the temple. And while on the news, while getting covered on the news, the worst thing happens. The Mandalorians start firing onto the slaves, killing a bunch of slaves, and then eventually kill the reporter on the air too. And this looks really bad. So the Imperials, the Moff's plan to put a lot of bad press on Dala. The walls are starting to crumble around her. And so things are really going bad, even though no one knows that she was the one that funneled the money to it. But the thing is, it doesn't look good. And the Jedi come and kind of stop the Mandalorians from killing slaves and kill the head Mandalorian while defending slaves. And all of a sudden, all the Jedi realize this is the Force at work. We should be focusing on freeing these slaves. It's a really good scene. Now, at that moment, Kenneth does not like what they're doing because they can't go against the Galactic Alliance. He feels that the same standards of the Old Republic, we must be there for the Republic, no matter what iteration they are. The Jedi must be there to support them and report to them. And they're like, no, we've got to do our own thing. Kenneth gets voted a vote of no confidence, and he is off the course. And by the way, I just noticed this for the first time. This is Kenneth Hamner on the back of the book. I usually I read these, I take the slip cover off. I have never looked at the back of a lot of these books, I guess. I just forgot about it. This is Kenneth Hamner. I don't think I've ever seen this before. That's so weird because I pick up these books all the time and flip through them. I just never looked at the back, I guess. That's what he looks like. I mean, a lot of people are screaming like, yeah, man, you never knew they were there. No, I guess not. Of course, I don't read it with the cover on, but I just thought it was kind of interesting that we have a picture of Kenneth Hamner there, and I just never knew. Anyway, Luke and Ben are visiting an alien race that was featured in New Rebellion. And of course, it incorporates, the people from the White Current from, Matthew P. Q. McDowell's trilogy. Wow, I know everything but the Black Fleet Crisis. There it is. It's coming to me now. So they're kind of talking about going back over to the Bantam novels. And I do remember them referencing, there's another Bantam novel I'm pretty sure they're going to reference in the next book. But anyway, when Kenneth Hamner escapes from his, detention in his room, he sees that all the Jedi Masters are against him. And he feels like he has to stop them from launching these stealth X's to go help Luke. That's in complete violation of what the Galactic Alliance is forbidden. So he kind of goes on the offensive to fight them. And Sabatine takes him on. They have a great battle where eventually Kenneth is falling and she tries to save him, but Kenneth is also trying to stop the X-Wings, the stealth X's, from launching. So she has to decide what to do. So she decides to stop. I think he throws his lightsaber. She has to stop the lightsaber, and that lets him fall to his death. So Kenneth dies. And Kenneth knew he had no chance of winning. This is the only thing he could do. He could not stand and let this atrocity go. And in a way, when Kenneth dies, it's I don't think he's, and this is kind of weird. The first time I read this, like, yeah, he was the bad guy. He was I see his point of view. He was wrong, but he just has the standard. He has to follow the rules. You have to be by the book. And that's a personality that a lot of people have. Even when it's wrong, he's like, no, it has to be by the law. And he can't separate, what he thinks in his head and what he knows in his heart. And while a lot of Jedi would follow their heart, Kenneth Hamner follows what's in his head. He feels that Luke bestowed this, Grandmaster upon him. He must lead the council in the best way, and the best way is for the Galactic Alliance to work with the Jedi. In fact, Luke even bemoans the fact that the Jedi have kind of strayed away from the Galactic Alliance right now and a bunch of their actions that they're about to do. Luke is not happy with that. Kenneth Hamner knew that, but there just was no situation. Now, Saba Sabatine makes a great quote here. She said, but Master Skywalker, because she's really beat up that she killed Kenneth, and she thinks she should be tried and convicted and whatnot. And no one's convicted her. In fact, they make her the new Grand Master temporarily before Luke Skywalker comes back. And at the same time, they said, you didn't have a choice. She went, no. She said, I didn't know the right choice. Master Skywalker would have always had another choice. And I think it's kind of true, too. I think it's kind of true what she says there. Now, in this book, they briefly mention Zek's adventure. Obviously, Elaine Cunningham's book was not coming out this time. And I guess they thought, well, maybe she'll finish it one day and they'll get to hear the story. But you get to hear like a little brief synopsis of what happened to them. And that's basically it. Unfortunately, the book will never see the light of day. And I kind of wish we would have seen it because it seemed like it had an interesting storyline with it. But other than that, Abeloth hides within the White Current. The White Current feel that there is no good or bad. You know, they're a little bit different from the Jedi. They don't always agree with the Jedi. In fact, they think the Jedi is have an issue. You know, they have an issue with the Jedi. In fact, Darth Caedus changing the current, changing the way time should go was wrong. Abeloth convinces them of that. But Luke goes, wait a minute. If he changed it, then things were destined to, it's a debate about destiny. Well, he changed the destiny that was supposed to be. Well, yeah, but the future's always in motion. And if Jason changed it, shouldn't it just remain how it is? You don't need to fix it. When are you becoming the fixers? And Abeloth has corrupted the White Current, is basically what she's done. And she kills Akana at the end, which I'd totally forgotten about. I totally forgot that she died. I knew someone in the White Current died, but I forgot it was Akana. So she dies, another death. This one had a few more deaths from the EU than I recall, to be honest. But of course, Troy Denny's going to be killing people off because that's what he does. But I absolutely love it, and I agree with it too. And of course, Luke is battling Abeloth once again here, and becoming victorious. But anyway, the Sith High Lord dies. Vistari kills him. She finds out that he's slowly been duped by Abeloth and becoming her pawn and just a mindless automaton. So she has to kill him. And while Luke and Ben get her to admit that, she didn't realize her father's right there. So her father's like, wait, you killed a Sith High Lord? And she's like, oh, crap. And then she, uses a force blow to knock him out real quick. She has no choice but to run with Luke and Ben because she knows that now her father's going to do what he must and, kill Vistari. That's Sith justice. You cannot touch a High Lord. And so she feels like, okay, now she's running for her life. She boards with Luke and Ben, and they head off in trying to fight. They're trying to track down Abeloth once again because Abeloth has escaped. Overall, Vortex, excellent. Really enjoying this series, much better than I remember. I never said I'd have to do a top 10 again, for best EU series or stories or whatever. I won't say books this time, but stories here. And now thinking about it, I might have to because I think this one's rising up in popularity for me as I read it a second time. All right, folks, that's it for now. See you next time.